Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today, what we're going to do is go over a couple things that some people have been commenting and asking us questions on. We've posted a few videos about our open traditional fireplace, and we've had a few people asking us, is that the only source of heat you have in your home? Is there other ways that you clean up the ashes, etc., etc.? So we wanted to answer those questions by just posting a real quick video. So here next to me is our pellet stove, and this is the stove that came with the house when we bought it. And what I have here is a Shop-Vac ash vacuum cleaner. And so this is a vacuum cleaner that's specifically designed to vacuum out ashes from fireplaces or pellet stoves or whatever you have. So one of the things that you notice is, first and foremost, it is metal. Also inside the hose itself, I don't know if you can see very well, but down there, maybe if I can get this other side. Inside the hose, it's lined with metal. Again, inside the actual hose itself, and that's by design, because if you're vacuuming out ashes, you want to make sure that you don't have an accidental hot ash get vacuumed up and melt through your hose, or catch fire on the filter or anything along those lines. So this vacuum is designed specifically for those types of things. Obviously, you should never be trying to vacuum out a bunch of ashes that are still visibly burning or smoldering, but that's just a safeguard just in case. So once the vacuum is filled, it's very simple. You just unlatch the latches there and lift it up, and as you can see in there, that's all of the ashes that we have vacuumed up so far. And even the filter, the grate here has a metal mesh on it, so to just, again, as a safety precaution. So with this, we've used this probably a couple dozen times already, and we're very happy with it so far. There's no smoke clouds from vacuuming it. I know one person had mentioned that they used their normal Shop-Vac and just, huge mess because it blew ash and soot all over their house. Other people saying that they've used regular vacuum cleaners and it just clogs the filters super fast, and it's because those vacuum cleaners are not designed to vacuum up ashes, whereas this one is. And like I said, so far we've had no messes and we've had no issues with the vacuum cleaner.
And we're not
clogging.
sponsoring these.
And of course, yeah, obviously we're not endorsing any particular product. We're not sponsored by any particular product, but this is the one that we had. And if you're curious, most big box stores will carry this. We got ours at a big box store, and so like I said, so far it's very easy to assemble. It does have a variety of attachments. I will say this attachment here works very well. Then it has another attachment that condenses it down to a hose. And that's this attachment here. So you have the hose feed in here, and then this goes onto the end of the main vacuum line. But I've noticed that this setup does not work very well. The suction gets dramatically reduced when you condense it down to this smaller section. So we typically don't use these particular attachments. But I will use either this attachment or this attachment, mainly this one, just because these ones really work very well.
And this is metal.
These are metal, and again, it's just because that way, if you happen to suck up a hot ash or a hot coal, it's not going to melt and it's not going to start any kind of fires.
It's hard plastic.
Yeah, and the outer lining is hard plastic. So, okay, so all we do after we've burned is we will open the pellet stove up. And one of the things that you might notice is our lining here actually needs to be replaced, and that's on the list of things that need to get done, but that'll be a video for a different day. So once we have that, you have your pot down here, and this is on the bottom of this pot. Underneath it, there's a heating plate. That's what actually will heat up the pot and eventually ignite the pellets as they come in. So what we've noticed is that if you allow too much ashes to build up, that creates like an insulating layer between the heating element and the wood pellets, and so it takes a much longer time. Sometimes you'll find you have to add in some type of like igniting gel, or basically the pellet stove lighting fluid. But if you vacuum out the ashes, it has a much easier time because it's heating up much faster and it's much direct contact, and so the pellets will start much faster. So I always vacuum out the pot, I vacuum out the temperature sensor here, and I'll vacuum out along the edges just as the soot falls down, just to give it a little bit cleaner. That's it. So like I said, that's that fast to be able to get that cleaned out. And as you can see, there's no big clouds, there's no big mess, and it cleans it up real nice and quick. So now that that's done, we'll what I always like to do in this particular stove, if we just turn it on, it's supposed to feed pellets down and then auto ignite. But what we've noticed is that the pellets will burn off before it can build up the heat or the pressure or whatever it is that the stove needs to be able to just run continuously. So I always grab a handful or two of pellets, put it in the pot, and then close it up and click the start button on it. Like I said, I just grab, not too much, just maybe a handful or two, and then I just dump it directly into the pot, and that's it. Close it up. And then we still have some pellets in here. This will take about a single 40-pound bag of pellets, and but we were running it earlier and then we had to leave, so we turned it off so that way we still have a bunch of pellets in here. We like to burn hardwood pellets just in general, whether it's a wood stove or a pellet stove. I like the hardwood pellets because they burn a little bit cooler than a softwood, but they burn longer than a softwood. And hardwood doesn't build up as much creosote as a softwood does. And so just for those reasons, less cleaning, less and longer burn times is why we go with the hardwood pellet. So now that that's in there, we'll plain and simply hit our reset button, which is located in the back here. Oh, I gotta turn it back on. And you can hear, so you can hear the fans turning on, and you can hear the auger starting to feed the pellets into the stove. And this right here, there's two cords that come on. One of them, this is controls the auger and feeding the pellets in, and this actually also has a temperature gauge on it. So if you wanted to set this up to a thermostat, you could. We just didn't have really the desire to do it. And so we just left it as we found it. So I mean, as you can see, there's, use the off, have the feeder off, controlled by the remote, or just continuous on. So we typically will just leave it as continuous on. And then the other one is just the rest of the power cable for the stove to power the auger and the fans and everything else. And so basically now we can walk away from it. The stove will do the rest. It'll continue to feed pellets in there. The heating element is already heating up, and within just a little while, those pellets will start to smoke, and then they will ignite on their own. So as you can see, it's already starting to smoke. So they're smoking really good, and it's been basically about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Alright guys, so as you can see, the flame started up, So what will happen is now the stove is going to heat up and it's going to build up the pressure and temperature that it needs, and then once it reaches that, then it will kick on and start pumping the heat out of the top of this unit and into the house. So all in all, from the time that I pushed the reset button to the time that we actually had flame was about 2.5 minutes. And so, and
this is an old stove.
And this is an old stove, but like I said, that's what we noticed is the best way. Just take a couple minutes to vacuum it out, and then we don't have to use a lighter. We don't have to use any igniting fuel or gel, and it lights up and does its thing, and it works well. Alright guys, so then we'll just close up the gate already. And so between this pellet stove and the traditional fireplace, they're both downstairs in our house, and those are the two things that we use pretty much exclusively to heat our home. Our home does have a heat pump, central HVAC system in it, but that's very, very expensive to run, and so this is a much less expensive way to produce a lot of heat. And so downstairs it gets very nice and toasty, and so during the wintertime, that's where we typically will hang out. Alright guys, so as always, feel free to post a comment and question, and we'll do our best to get back to you as quickly as possible. Again, if you found this video interesting or informational and you think somebody else could benefit from it, please feel free to like and subscribe and share. And so, as always, thank you for your support, and we will see you on the next video.
Okay, បងប្អូននេះចក្រានកដៅនៅក្នុងផ្ទះកុំឲ្យត្រជាក់ពេកហើយនេះកន្លែងនេះគឺជាកតិចឈើពួកខ្ញុំទិញពីផ្សារឈើនេះធ្លាក់ចូលកន្លែងប្រហោងភ្លើងហើយទៅឆេះ See? Here goes the fan. អូខេ អរគុណច្រើនបងប្អូន Listen hi. Bye bye.